Everyone dreams about becoming rich, yet the people who actually build real wealth often have one surprising habit. They almost never talk about money. And that's not a coincidence.
The loudest people online often appear wealthy, but appearance and wealth are two completely different games. Real millionaires usually play by very different rules. Think of wealth like an iceberg. The expensive car is only the tiny part everyone notices. The real fortune stays hidden beneath the surface. For wealthy people, money isn't a trophy. It's simply a tool. Their attention stays focused on building assets instead of showing results. Most people collect money. Wealthy people collect ownership. Every dollar they earn is quietly converted into something that continues making even more money. Crowds chase expensive things. Investors chase opportunities. One spends to impress. The other buys assets that quietly multiply over time. Money works exactly like a seed. Spend it today and it's gone. Invest it wisely and it keeps producing value long after you forget planting it. The world usually notices successful people after they become rich. It rarely sees the years they spent working silently while nobody was watching. Building wealth feels less like winning the lottery and more like playing chess. Every quiet decision today shapes the outcome years into the future. So if the truly wealthy stay silent about money, what exactly are they talking about instead? The answer might completely change how you think about success. When wealthy people meet, the conversation rarely begins with, "How much do you make?" Instead, they ask a completely different question. What are you building? Your conversations quietly shape your future. Speak mostly about spending, and your mind searches for purchases. Talk about opportunities, and your brain starts finding investments. Every billionaire once spent countless nights building something nobody believed would succeed. Silence protected their focus, while everyone else searched for quick attention. Wealth grows exactly like a tree. Everyone admires the branches. Almost nobody notices the roots that quietly supported every inch of growth. The world constantly tells you to spend. Advertising earns billions, convincing people that buying more somehow creates a better life. Wealthy people learn to ignore the noise. Social media shows expensive moments. It almost never shows debt, stress, failed businesses, or years of invisible work hidden behind the perfect photos. Small financial decisions rarely stay small. One smart habit, repeated for years, quietly becomes a fortune that seems impossible to explain overnight. Rich people understand one resource that's even more valuable than money: time. Every investment is really a decision about where tomorrow begins. Income can make you comfortable. Habits determine whether that comfort eventually becomes financial freedom or disappears as quickly as it arrived. The greatest investment wealthy people often make isn't in stocks or real estate, it's in knowledge, because information compounds long before money ever does. Here's something most people never notice. Truly wealthy individuals rarely feel the need to prove they're wealthy. Confidence doesn't demand an audience. Nature teaches an interesting lesson. Some creatures survive by attracting attention. Others become powerful by staying focused and unnoticed until the perfect moment arrives. Many people celebrate income. Wealthy people celebrate ownership. Every paycheck becomes another opportunity to acquire assets that continue working long after the salary is spent. Every visible success depends on invisible systems. Wealth isn't built by one brilliant decision. It's protected by hundreds of disciplined habits nobody ever sees. One table is buying status. The other is building value. At first glance, they look similar. 10 years later, their financial futures rarely do. The fastest path often feels exciting, but wealth usually rewards consistency instead of speed. Small improvements repeated for years outperform dramatic shortcuts. Discipline rarely looks impressive in a single moment, yet thousands of ordinary decisions quietly shape extraordinary results over an entire lifetime. One of the biggest financial mistakes is assuming wealth can be recognized from appearances. Expensive things are easy to borrow. Financial freedom isn't. Successful people aren't those who never fail. They're the ones who quietly rebuild after every setback, while others remain focused on appearances. Perhaps that's the biggest secret of all. Wealth isn't measured by the money people can see. It's measured by the assets quietly working behind the scenes. The wealthy understand that every financial decision creates another decision tomorrow. That's why they move carefully. not because they're afraid, but because they think several steps ahead. Headlines are designed to capture attention. Long-term investors are trained to ignore distractions and stay focused on decades instead of daily drama. Money always asks a question: will you spend me today, or will you let me work for your future? Every purchase quietly answers that question. Building wealth feels remarkably similar to climbing a mountain. The slow path often looks boring until it becomes the only route that actually reaches the top. The difference often isn't income, it's attention. One conversation ends with a receipt, the other begins with an opportunity. Life-changing results rarely come from one giant decision. They're built from small habits that quietly reinforce one another over many years. Strong finances aren't built for perfect conditions. They're designed to survive difficult ones. Stability matters most when life becomes unpredictable. One surprising habit connects many successful people. They never stop being students. The more they earn, the more seriously they invest in learning. Money follows direction, just like water. Left without purpose, it disappears. Guided wisely, it creates life far beyond its original source. Perhaps that's why wealthy people speak so little about money. They're too busy planning what comes next to spend time proving what they've already achieved. One of the greatest investments isn't found on a stock exchange. It's found in relationships. The right conversation can create opportunities that money alone never could. Great wealth is built much like a luxury watch. Every small piece matters, and even the finest results depend on patience, precision, and consistency. Higher income doesn't automatically create wealth. What matters is the growing gap between what you earn and what you choose not to spend. Compounding doesn't usually feel exciting in the beginning, but once momentum builds, every small gain begins creating even larger opportunities. Real wealth often walks unnoticed. Many of the world's most successful people choose comfort, privacy, and freedom over constant recognition. Strong financial lives are supported by foundations people rarely notice: discipline, planning, patience, and the willingness to delay immediate rewards. Before chasing bigger results, many successful people spend time reviewing their direction. Clear goals often outperform endless motivation. Opportunity often works like the stars. Individual moments seem unrelated until experience helps you recognize the hidden patterns connecting them. Money can solve today's problem. Wisdom often prevents tomorrow's. That's why successful people value mentors almost as much as investments. By now, a pattern begins to emerge. Wealth isn't built through louder conversations about money. It's built through quieter decisions repeated every single day. Before most people wake up, somewhere in the world, someone is already building tomorrow. Wealth is often created in moments that nobody else ever sees. Every lasting achievement begins as an idea, written down, planned carefully, improved consistently, and acted upon long before anyone notices the outcome. One life is measured by what it displays. The other is measured by what it quietly owns. Time eventually reveals which strategy creates lasting freedom. Appearances can be impressive. Reality is far more powerful. The richest part of any mountain, company, or person often remains invisible at first glance. Knowledge is one investment that nobody can take away. Every lesson learned today quietly increases the quality of tomorrow's decisions. No fortune grows in complete isolation. Behind every successful person is a network of people, ideas, systems, and trust working together over time. Perhaps the greatest purpose of wealth isn't simply having more. It's creating something valuable that continues helping others long after you're gone. Money is only one small chapter in the story. Vision, discipline, integrity, and patience are the pages that truly write lasting success. The patterns have been there all along. Quiet focus instead of loud attention. Ownership instead of appearance. Patience instead of urgency. Growth instead of showing off. Maybe that's the real secret. Rich people don't stay silent because money is unimportant. They stay silent because they're focused on building something far more valuable than attention.